What's going on, guys? It is Deibs, Mr. Crockpot on Twitter. Today, we are breaking down my top 10 edge rushers in the 2025 NFL Draft. Guys, if you love the draft and you want more draft content, you know what to do. Smash that subscribe button. Let's go! All right, guys, we're talking top 10 edge rushers in the 2025 NFL Draft, and an honorable mention, leading off number 10, Dennis-Sutton out of Penn State. Dennis-Sutton certainly looks the part of an NFL defensive end with his impressive size and length. He even has a little room for growth if a team wants to add some size to him and get him up to that 280-pound range. Dennis-Sutton is an alignment versatile pass rusher with the anchor and athleticism to become an impactful run defender early in his NFL career. Aligned primarily outside the tackle during his time with the Nittany Lions, Dennis-Sutton projects as a bit of a tweener at this point in evaluation due to limited explosiveness and being undersized to slide into that 3-tech. Against the run, he is quick to get his hands up and take on blocks. Combined with his length and solid physicality at the point of attack, he can get extension and reset the line of scrimmage against tight ends. He isn't as consistent against offensive tackles, but he has enough strength to hold his own and win against solid competition. Concerns remain about Dennis-Sutton's production against more athletic and experienced offensive tackles. He's a powerful athlete, but will play too high at times, leaving a large amount of surface area for linemen to target. Overall, Dennis-Sutton is an advanced run defender whose size and fundamental strength present the foundation for a high-floor run defender early in his NFL career. Right now, I have a day 2 grade on Dennis-Sutton. Let's watch some highlights. Coming in number 9, let's talk about Jack Sawyer out of Ohio State. Listed at 6'5" and 260 pounds, Jack Sawyer is an imposing edge defender who watched as teams ran away from his side of the field in many games. He has a good blend of size, get-off, and power to give offensive linemen trouble when he gets ahead of steam. As a pass rusher, he has the strength to collapse the pocket against weaker tackles and has a decent cross chop that he uses as a nice inside counter move. He also has a good motor to get coverage sacks and will get his hands up to bat passes at the line of scrimmage. However, the Buckeye isn't a high-level athlete right now, which is going to limit how many tools he has in his pass rush toolbox. He isn't going to win with speed around the edge, and he doesn't have much twitch and athleticism to be effective when working finesse moves. His ability against double teams or reduce inside, as is his ability to hunker down and anchor, needs work. From a pass rush perspective, his tool bag is limited and needs further seasoning. Overall, Jack Sawyer is a great run defender who shows flashes as a pass rusher but still needs refinement to reach his potential. His ability to impact on early downs will make him a valuable rotational piece in the NFL. Right now, I've got a day 2 grade on Jack Sawyer. Let's watch some highlights. Coming in number 8, let's talk about Kennard out of South Carolina. It's time to talk about one of, if not the biggest breakout star in college football this season. Kennard, who transferred to South Carolina from Georgia Tech, has emerged as a key piece for the Gamecocks defense. His relentless motor, elite pass rushing skills, and ability to disrupt the opponent's backfield have been off the charts. Throughout this season, Kennard has accumulated impressive stats, showcasing his dominance on the defensive line. He leads the team in sacks and tackles for loss, consistently proving to be a nightmare for opposing quarterbacks. His speed off the edge and strong football IQ make him a versatile threat who can line up anywhere on the defensive front. The biggest drawback for Kennard is his athleticism. He doesn't have elite speed, and there is a chance that he will have poor testing numbers throughout the draft process. Regardless, I have a strong day 2 grade on Kyle Kennard. Let's watch some highlights. Coming in number 7, Donovan Ezeiruaku out of Boston College. Ezeiruaku has looked like one of the most polished pass rushers in the country on tape so far this season. He's got a whole bag of tricks to get to the edge and affect opposing quarterbacks. After 34 pressures a year ago, Ezeiruaku already has 34 this season. He's an alignment versatile prospect with the bend and pursuit to provide depth for an NFL edge room. He has experience aligning with his hand in the dirt and standing up, and will present teams with a versatile profile at the edge rusher position. Concerns remain about Ezeiruaku's athletic profile, pass rush repertoire, and overall strength. He's not an elite athlete, thus capping what he could be as a pure pass rusher. In the run game, he has a difficult time disengaging from blocks and can be quickly relocated down the line of scrimmage if he meets contact unbalanced. Ezeiruaku has been one of the biggest risers in this class at the midway point of the season. In a generally weaker class, he would have the chance to get drafted considerably high and even sneak into day 1. However, this year the position is stacked and he looks like a day 2 prospect at this point in time. As a pro, his long-term outlook is more of a rotational pass rusher than a full-fledged game wrecker. A possible career path could be that of a consistently solid edge that catches on with multiple different organizations. His swim move will win him a solid amount of reps, but he needs to flesh out his technical abilities to develop into anything more. Let's watch some highlights. Coming in number 6, let's talk about Landon Jackson out of Arkansas. Watch any Arkansas game, and there's a great chance you'll quickly notice the defense's 6'7", 280-pound edge defender Landon Jackson passing the eye test before the ball is even snapped. Post-snap, you'll see him play with an uncommon explosiveness and violence for a player of that size. The Razorbacks line Landon Jackson pretty much anywhere. In his college career, he is featured at 0 technique nose, 3 technique defensive tackle, 5 tech DN, outside and even inside linebacker with left and right versatility throughout. Jackson's biggest question is his consistency in that technique. Because Jackson is a tall prospect, there are times when he will lose the leverage battle in the run game, and an offensive lineman can get under his pads and control the rep. As a pass rusher, Landon Jackson will at times rush in an upright position that hinders his ability to change direction. Landon Jackson flashes the ability to be an impactful defensive lineman, and his success in the NFL will be based on what role he plays in a defense. He looks best suited to be a run-stopping defensive end in a 4-3 scheme or a 3-4 defensive end. Right now, I have a solid day 2 grade on Landon Jackson. Let's watch some highlights. Before we get into my top 5 edge rushers, let's talk about one honorable mention, and that is Ivey out of Ole Miss. In terms of NFL body, it doesn't get much better than Ivey. He's going to check the size box, and he has impressive length. As a pass rusher, Ivey does an excellent job converting speed to power, and he has good bend for his size. He is great against the run and has the burst and technique to wrap up ball carriers near the line of scrimmage. At the next level, he projects as a traditional 4-3 defensive end who will start from day one. Ivey's high football IQ and advanced run defense technique will help him contribute early, while his pass rush arsenal needs expansion beyond his power-based foundation. A developmental edge defender who wins with physicality and motor over finesse, Ivey's ceiling will depend on his ability to diversify his pass rush plan and improve his counter moves. His experience against top-notch SEC competition and proven ability to stack and shed suggests a reliable depth piece with room to grow into a more complete defender. Right now, I've got a back end of day 2 grade on Ivey. Let's watch some highlights. All right, let's talk about my top 5 edge rushers in the 2025 draft, leading with Princely Umanmielen out of Ole Miss at number 5. Listed at 6'5" and 256 pounds, Umanmielen has played both stand-up outside linebacker and from the 3-point stance in line, and he attacks from either side of the D-line. He's got long arms and wraps up well when he gets a paw on a target. He's got a nice spin move, one that isn't as sudden as more twitchy players. Instead, he uses his length to leverage off blockers and clear himself a lot of space with that spin, and he can go either inside or outside. In run defense, he's been largely boom or bust. The disruptiveness to get behind the line and wreak havoc on the timing and gap fits can be great. Alas, there's a lot of Umanmielen opting to attack the block instead of the ball, akin to a younger Preston Smith. The ability to shed blocks is still a work in progress, though it seems to be more of a technical issue than an effort one. The trait Umanmielen needs to improve the most is his strength. It shows in both his pass rushes and against the run. When rushing the quarterback, he has to consistently win with speed around the arc and rarely executes a speed-to-power maneuver, even when it appears that he has set up the offensive lineman to do so. Overall, this is a natural athlete at the edge. With the right development in the NFL, he will develop into a consistent and effective pass rusher due to his plus length, quickness, and ability to bend the edge. Right now, I have upside for round 1 for Princely Umanmielen. Let's watch some highlights. Coming in number 4, let's talk about James Pearce Jr. out of Tennessee. Similar to Abdul Carter, James Pearce Jr. has elite tools, but just needs NFL coaching to unlock his crazy upside. Pearce has not racked up as many tackles for loss or sacks this year as he did during his all-SEC sophomore campaign. Much like Will Anderson Jr. over his final 2 years at Alabama, he's yet to have any real breakout performances against top-notch competition so far this season. But again, this is all projection and the tools are off the charts. As a prospect, he's 6'5", 242 pounds, and a blur coming off the edge. He's a little inconsistent as a run defender. He can be better at setting a strong edge when the run is coming at him, and he's got a lean frame and struggles to hold the point of attack against stronger, more powerful offensive linemen. As of right now, Pearce's biggest contributions as a run defender are his ability to use his quickness and track a ball carried down from the backside of the play, or his ability to shoot gaps and get penetration. Overall, James Pearce Jr. has the potential to enter the NFL as an impactful edge rusher early in his career while improving his play as a run defender. I think this guy has considerable upside and could be a top 10 pick when all is said and done. Let's watch some highlights. Coming in number 3, let's talk about Nic Scourton out of Texas A&M. Nic Scourton transferred to Texas A&M after being a second-team All-Big Ten performer last season with the Purdue Boilermakers. Scourton may not eclipse last year's sack total, but he's been a regular disruptive force while playing against top-notch SEC competition. Scourton made a strong statement to boost his draft stock the other weekend, going up against LSU's well-respected offensive tackle Will Campbell. While Scourton had just one sack, he got the best of him throughout the game with several pressures. Nic Scourton is one of, if not one of the better run defenders I have seen in recent drafts. He is so patient, waits for a mistake from the offensive lineman or ball carrier, and attacks. He could easily be placed inside or out on a defensive line, be productive, and get a team 5+ sacks and easily 10 tackles for loss from the jump. He does not have elite bend and doesn't win with his hands on every snap, but he can change direction quickly enough to harass quarterbacks trying to leave the pocket, and he can drop into zone coverage. Scourton's power and length will serve him well in the NFL, both as a pass rusher and run defender. Overall, Nic Scourton has a unique blend of size, athleticism, and strength for an edge rusher. On the next level, he should be a versatile front 7 defender who can play edge but also reduce inside to an athletic hand-into-the-ground defensive tackle. Right now, I've got a top 10 grade on Nic Scourton. Let's watch some highlights. Coming in number 2, it is Mykel Williams out of Georgia. Mykel Williams was an inside-outside pass rusher for the Bulldogs in his first 2 seasons, recording 9 sacks in a role that was a lot like one played by 2022 number 1 overall pick Travon Walker when he was with Georgia. His elite length and power allows him to win against interior linemen, but he can also take the edge against tackles and chase down ball carriers. Williams has not played a lot of snaps this year due to an ankle injury, but has been really ramping it up over the last couple of weeks. Williams' ability to play multiple roles and schemes within a defense is without a doubt one of his biggest calling cards. He's a 20-year-old prospect at a premium position from a pipeline program. Williams has as much upside as any eligible prospect, which makes him extremely enticing. Williams' continued development as a player has to do with him improving the detailed parts of his game against the run and as a pass rusher. When reduced inside, he tends to struggle holding the point of attack against interior offensive linemen. In double teams, he can be displaced off the line. Williams overall just needs a lot of refinement, but the tools are all there. As a pass rusher, he wins because of his high-level athletic traits, but he needs to work on the details of his pass rush, like utilizing his hands and working better at pass rush angles. Right now, I have a top 10 grade for Mykel Williams. Let's watch some highlights. Last but not least, coming in number 1, it is Abdul Carter out of Penn State. Abdul Carter is currently labeled as a project as an edge defender since he switched positions during the last offseason, previously lining up as an off-ball linebacker. He hasn't done much to shake that label since this season and was unproductive as a pass rusher recently against Wisconsin. Granted, Wisconsin's quick passing game played a factor in that, but right now, Abdul Carter looks more like an athlete who is learning how to play the position than an NFL-ready edge. Carter's production expands to another level when identifying his potential as a pass rusher. He can serve as an additional body up the middle as an off-ball linebacker or rush in a two-point stance outside the tackle. He can win with speed to the outside shoulder and also showcases a violent spin inside with long arms. His pass rush repertoire has shown signs of yearly improvement and will be key in finalizing his projection. Against the run, this guy is sensational in sniffing out gaps and wrangling down ball carriers at or behind the line of scrimmage. He will often beat pulling guards or tackles to the alley. He has a violent trigger downhill that arrives with a physicality you'd like to see in linebackers of his stature. Sometimes he arrives at contact too high, but he is a technically refined tackler who uses a variety of ways to get running backs to the turf. His footwork and agility are extremely smooth when sliding across the formation before triggering. Abdul Carter has all the necessary burst to run with and chase down athletes in the fringe areas. Right now, I've got a top 10 grade on Abdul Carter. Let's watch some highlights. All right, guys, those are my top 10 edge rushers plus one honorable mention in the 2025 NFL Draft. Do you agree or disagree with my rankings? Did I leave anybody out? Let me know down in that comment section below. For everything NFL Draft, shoot me a follow on X at Mr. Crockpot. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Stay awesome.